Welcome to the Create Your Empowered Self podcast. This how-to podcast is focused on empowering you to live your best life by incorporating the principles of the law of attraction, NLP, meditation, and other spiritual teachings. I'm Jeannie Hall, a certified NLP practitioner and creative empowerment coach. Let's get you empowered. Hello, and welcome to the Create Your Empowered Self podcast. This is Jeannie Hall, your creative empowerment coach, and this is episode 35, Worthiness. So today I'm talking about worthiness because the concept of worthiness is a bit of a prickly pear for a lot of us. If you ask someone if they feel worthy of something, like if they feel worthy of getting their book published or falling in love and having a true romance in their life or getting a promotion or having lots of money, etc. Most of us, most of the time, will say immediately, yes, of course, I want all of that. But even though many of us consider ourselves worthy of these things, our actions don't actually always bear that out. And so that's why I've chosen the theme of worthiness today and for this week. So both podcasts, both today's and Saturday's, will be kind of centered around the worthiness issue. Because sometimes if you're going through your life and you're having an issue with something coming to you that you've been wanting, and you've been trying and nothing's working, and it seems like you can't ever get to where you want to be, and you're just so unhappy in a certain part of your life or in many areas of your life. A lot of the time what it really boils down to isn't that there's no one out there to date, isn't that you can't get that promotion, isn't that you can't finish your book. Usually none of those things are true. What's really true is that deep down, you don't feel like you're worthy enough to do those things or for that to come to you. So if you believe that deep down, if you really are honest with yourself and you look at that and you realize that, I feel weird about asking for money because I don't think I'm worthy of it. I feel weird for asking for that promotion because even though I work my ass off every day, deep down I kind of have a thing about money. So if that's you, then this episode will hopefully help. So let's say that you're an author or a writer looking to be an author, and let's say you've actually completed a work of fiction or nonfiction. So let's say you have a book or a novel that's all ready to go, and you're shopping it around, and everybody's rejecting it. Every publisher or editor that you've sent it to, every agent is giving you a no. And the problem with being a writer, and especially if you're trying to get published, instead of going the self-publishing route, you're trying to get someone else to publish you. Maybe you believe that it's not really real unless someone else publishes you. And I understand that philosophy. I used to be that way too. But let's say you keep getting no's. And unfortunately, what that tends to do is to have you make some terrible assumptions about yourself. So you might assume that you're not good enough. You might tell yourself, I'm not good enough. You might tell yourself, I'm not worthy of publication. Or even something like this, I'm not meant to be a writer. What do I think I'm doing? And I've heard this from other people. I've even heard it from people who have written books, have been published, even multi-published, and then for some reason they run into such a severe writer's block, and it's always, writer's block has little to do with writing. Writer's block tends to come from something that's going on in our lives that has just really gotten our mindset messed up and gotten us into a negative place in our minds. And that is where the block is coming from. You have all the talent and ability in the world. And if you've already started to write, it's because you love it. And the only reason you love it is because you're capable of it. I really do believe that God and the universe, source energy, whatever you believe in, that higher power, only has us drawn to those passions, those things that we love so much, because it's what we're meant to do. It may not be the only thing we're meant to do, but it's certainly one of the things. So you would never be drawn to something like that and then not be capable of fulfilling that. So if you fell in love with writing and it lights you up from the inside out and it makes you so happy when you get in the zone and are able to write, then that, my friends, means that you are meant to do that. So if you're then running into a problem and you start to think, oh, maybe I'm not a writer, maybe I'm not as creative or talented as I thought. Yes, you are. Don't let your mind do that to you, because that is your mind tripping you up. That is your mind telling you lies. You are so talented and capable. And not to say that there aren't things that you can learn along the way to improve that craft. It is a craft. It's both kind of an art and a science a little bit. There are lots of things that go into writing and into a lot of things. A lot of different careers are that way, where you may have to get an education, you may have to get a certification, you may have to get a degree, you may just need to learn on the job, whatever the situation is. But you can always do that. You are more than capable of that. You have access. Your inner self has access to the wisdom of the ages. The power that creates worlds flows through you. So don't forget that. And don't let that mean little voice in your head that makes you doubt yourself stop you from following your dreams. Because ultimately, triumphing over that voice is going to make that success that much sweeter. So just remember that. If you're struggling in any area of your life, it may be that you want a partner who understands you and is compatible with you and will respect you, but maybe you keep ending up with just the opposite. Maybe you want money and prosperity so you can live freely and enjoy life more, but you always end up with more bills and debts than incoming funds. Maybe you want that promotion at work but keep getting passed over because even though you work super hard, deep down you doubt yourself. And that's how worthiness issues can seep into so many different areas of our lives. Sometimes it affects one area really heavily, but sometimes it can affect us across the board. It can keep us from saying yes to opportunities when they arise. It can keep us scared and backing away when what we need to do is take a step forward. So the core of our own worthiness issues usually boils down to this one question: do you trust yourself? Because if you feel unsure and indecisive, then you're not actually trusting yourself. And if you want something you've never actually had before, you're going to have to do things you've never done. And what usually happens is that you try something you've never done, but it's so scary that your mind freaks out and it'll tell you it's impossible to get that thing. Other people can get it, but not me. I'm not cut out for this. But that's a lie. You're cut out for whatever you decide you're cut out for. That's what you're cut out for. You can do anything. These are all symptoms of worthiness issues. And sometimes the issue can be solved, like I said a moment ago, by educating yourself. There are tons of resources out there for pretty much every subject under the sun. And now that we have online, you can go to Google and just search and find free information just everywhere. Tons and tons and tons. But a lot of us have already done that. We've already found the information we need, and we continue to educate ourselves in whatever that might be. Typically, what holds us back isn't our education and learning what we need to learn. A lot of the times it's just how we think about ourselves and our abilities, and how we think about what we individually can offer the world. Because remember, our thoughts lead to our feelings, which determines which actions we take. And which actions we take or avoid taking will ultimately become our result in our lives. So what kind of result are you getting in your life right now? Are you prosperous and making the amount of money you want to make? Are you happy in your romantic relationship, your family relationships, your friends' relationships? Are you happy in your job or your business? Are you happy in the pursuit of your dream? Do you have things around you that you want? Whether it's a home or a car or whatever else. If you have to say no to all of that or to some of that, then it may be a worthiness issue that is causing it. So be willing to slow down and be brutally honest with yourself. Are you keeping success from finding you because you just keep doing the same old, same old? Are you dating the same kind of person over and over and feeling unsatisfying? Do you sit down to write that book but end up getting up in frustration? Do you work somewhere you hate or with people you can't stand? Do you keep worrying about your lack of money? On Saturday, I'll release a meditation with affirmations to help you with your worthiness issues. But in the meantime, I'm going to do this. Imagine this process with me. Think of where you want to be 1 year from today. In exactly 1 year, imagine having everything that you want. All of it. Don't hold back. Don't say, well, I can have this, but not this. No, everything you want. Imagine it. Think about it. Picture it in your mind. If 1 year from today, all your problems were solved, all your issues resolved, how would you then feel? Now, sit down with pen and paper, and at the top of that page, write 5 to 10 emotions that you want to feel. These are emotions that you want to feel, whether it's happy, satisfied, fulfilled, ecstatic, euphoric, peaceful, a sense of freedom, whatever emotions appeal to you that you would like to feel, accomplished, successful, any of those, and whatever else you think of besides. So take a few moments and write down those emotions. Now, once you've written all of those emotions down, I'd like you to write down all the different successes you've achieved as if that year has already passed. So right now, I am sharing this in August of 2018. Let's say that it is August of 2019, or a year from whenever you're hearing this, okay? So a year has passed. If it is a whole year from now, and you've already managed to achieve everything you've wanted, you don't have to know the how, you don't have to know the why. All you know is that you have been granted, all of your dreams have come true, all your wishes have been granted, and it's done. Imagine that. So write that down. Write down the list of all of the things that you now have. The material things, the emotional things, the relationship things, the work or career things, the money things, the pursuing your dream things, all of it. Write it all down. So for example, you're a writer, you could write down, let's say you're an aspiring writer, you're trying to get published. You could write down, my entire novel is completed, edited, and ready to go to my publisher. So in that one sentence, not only has your book been written and edited, you've already been accepted for publication and you're getting ready to send it to your publisher. So that's a great sentence to write down if you're a writer. Or you could write down, I've met the love of my life and I know we're in it for the long haul. Or I make 5 figures a month now. Or 6 figures. Or a yearly annual income of whatever you want. Write that down. And imagine that it's done. It's already happened. You're writing this in past tense. So once you've written all of those down, as if it's already happened, what emotion do you feel flowing through you now? Is it one of the 5 or 10 emotions that you initially wrote down? If so, great. That's exactly where you want to be. If not, look again at what you thought you wanted. If having that thing doesn't give you what you wanted emotionally, you may not actually want that. Sometimes we think we want things, and the only reason we ever want anything is we think it'll make us feel happy, make us feel good, or make us feel better. That's the only reason we want anything ever in our lives, ever. But if you wrote down something, and then whenever you imagined the emotion, you didn't imagine something that was one of the emotions you wanted, then you may need to look at that. You may have some work to do on that. You may need to dive deep and figure out what will truly make you happy. Because our happiness comes from within, always. And we get to decide how we feel about things. And you are completely okay and right to want those things in your outer life. But ultimately, the feeling, that good feeling, that happy feeling, comes from us from inside. And how we perceive those things that we have. And it's really important to know that and discover that if things are not lining up like you want them to. And always remember that you deserve to be happy. Okay, so let's say everything lines up, the emotions line up, the things that you want, your dreams and everything makes you feel, when you imagine having that a year from today, it really does give you that emotion that you're after. And that you're very clear in your mind with what you want. So you're going to look at all those dreams that you've written down, and you're going to read over them. And at the end of each one, you're going to say, I appreciate that this is my life now so much. You're going to say this after each item. I appreciate that this is my life now so much. And believe it. Feel that appreciation. Like really feel it. Let the emotion of thankfulness and gratitude really come up. And once you've done that with every item, check in with yourself emotionally. How do you feel? It should be very positive, whatever emotion it is. So, do this exercise every day for the next 30 days. And as you go through this next 30 days doing this exercise, be open to the signs that show up in your life, the intuitive nudges that you feel as you go along, and follow those. Follow those nudges as you feel them, as long as they feel good. If you see a sign and it feels good, see where it takes you. Be aware of it. Know that that is a manifestation showing you your path and giving you the direction you want to go in. Okay, so be ready for Saturday when I go ahead and do a guided meditation with affirmations to help you with any worthiness issues. And do these exercises and see where they get you. I do think that they will be very helpful to you, especially if you're someone who does struggle with worthiness issues in general. And as always, have an empowered day, week, month, and year. Bye-bye. Thanks so much for listening to the Create Your Empowered Self podcast. If you've enjoyed this content or found it helpful, please let me know by leaving a review. I upload podcasts every Wednesday and Saturday, so subscribe to receive these regular updates. Now, go out there and live a more empowered life.